Hi everyone, I'm Amy Henderson, Environmental Scientist in Region 1. I wanted to let you know that the department is continuing to partner with Sustainable Conservation to accelerate the pace of habitat restoration throughout the state of California by giving restoration projects an alternate permitting path through the Habitat Restoration and Enhancement, or HRE Act program. We prepared this informational training video on the HRE Act program to help you better understand how it works and how to use it to advance restoration. Now I'd like to hand things off to Sustainable Conservation to talk about the details.
Hello, I'm Katie Haldeman, Senior Project Manager on the Accelerating Restoration team at Sustainable Conservation. Sustainable Conservation sponsored the HRE Act, and we're collaborating closely with DFW headquarters and the regions on program implementation. We've made a series of 3 videos to explain the Act and its application processes. During this first video, I will explain the legislative intent of the HRE Act, its key elements, project eligibility, benefits of using the Act, basic information about the 2 application processes, and where to go to get more information. To learn more about the details of each application process, watch the next 2 videos, which have information to help you submit a successful application. Let's talk about development of the HRE Act, which Sustainable Conservation sponsored and created in collaboration with the California Department of Fish and Wildlife to give small-scale restoration projects an alternative, expedited permitting pathway from that of development projects. Based on feedback from surveys of restoration proponents across the state, we all set out to create an alternative application process for DFW's 2 key approvals: the Section 1602 Lake and Streambed Alteration, or LSA, agreements, and Section 2081 California Endangered Species Act, or CESA, incidental take permit. Legislation was developed to shift the traditional permitting process for restoration, putting environmentally beneficial projects on a separate track from development projects, allowing for an expedited review. This can encourage more restoration and help to achieve DFW's mission to protect and restore habitat and recover species. Now that I've explained the legislative intent, I would like to give you a basic description of the process created by the HRE Act, the project types it covers, and project eligibility. The HRE Act creates an alternative process to issuance of both a 1602 LSA and CESA 2081 incidental take permit for any qualified restoration project that would otherwise need approval by the department. The Act specifically mentions that approval under HRE is in lieu of any other permit, license, agreement, or other approval issued by the department. A key feature of the HRE Act is that it is linked to an existing permit for restoration, the State Water Board's Section 401 General Order for Small Habitat Restoration Projects, or SHRP. The idea behind this linkage is to coordinate the 2 permitting processes, which have similar information requirements. The Water Board's SHRP process provides information to assist DFW with their review of HRE Act projects. Now let's talk about the project types covered under the HRE Act. The HRE Act covers restoration project types focused on aquatic habitats, such as creeks, rivers, lakes, wetlands, and other water bodies. These are the habitats that DFW staff protect through the Section 1602 program and that also require Water Board Section 401 permitting. There are a variety of project types that can be covered. Some examples include biotechnical stream bank stabilization, invasive species removal and native plant revegetation, culvert upgrades, and other fish passage projects, and more. Next, I'll describe 2 of the many restoration projects that have used the HRE Act. This sediment reduction project in Sonoma County received Proposition 1 funding from the California State Coastal Conservancy. The project will upgrade 3 stream crossings and hydrologically disconnect over 2 miles of roads, which are currently draining and contributing significant sediment loads into tributaries of Sonoma Creek, a steelhead-bearing stream. This fish passage project in Santa Barbara County received Fisheries Restoration Grant Program, or FRGP, funds. The project involved removing a fish passage barrier, a concrete stream crossing, and installing a new bridge on Kyoto Creek in the San Ynez watershed. Next, I'll talk about HRE Act project eligibility. Under HRE, a project must be eligible for the CEQA Categorical Exemption 15333 for small habitat restoration projects, per the requirements of the Water Board's SHRP. However, the project may be covered under a programmatic CEQA document as long as the project, as a standalone project, is consistent with the CEQA exemption. A most likely instance of this would be getting coverage under a programmatic CEQA document for FRGP or a local watershed restoration program. If a project meets these requirements for CEQA, it may qualify for the SHRP from the Water Board, which in turn means the project is qualified for the HRE program. To use the HRE Act, projects must have either obtained approval under the Water Board's Section 401 General Order for Small Habitat Restoration Projects, or SHRP, or be eligible for approval based on the SHRP's current conditions. For example, a project may already be covered under a Water Board programmatic permit, as with FRGP projects like the Kyoto Creek project I just described. But as long as the project is eligible for the SHRP, it also qualifies for HRE approval. Projects must be consistent with the current conditions in the SHRP, which include voluntary restoration, not required mitigation or under court order, have the primary purpose of improving fish and wildlife habitat, a size limit of 5 acres or less, and the SHRP's current linear feet restrictions on disturbance to a segment of stream, even if the work is phased in smaller annual pieces. For example, an invasive plant removal project could do several spot treatments that extend over a longer reach, only if the areas where work is actually being conducted along a segment of stream are less than the current limit. These terms and conditions can change as the Water Board updates its permit. We suggest checking with DFW to see if there have been any updates to the SHRP that could impact HRE conditions. We will update our guidance document if the SHRP conditions change. Why use the HRE Act instead of traditional 1602 and or CISA 2091 processes? Using the HRE Act gives you 2 permit approvals in one process. It provides for approval within 30 to 60 days for eligible projects with a complete application and provides simplified monitoring requirements. With the HRE Act, you can use existing programmatic CEQA documents or a categorical exemption to comply with CEQA. It can also provide incidental take and use the categorical exemption 15333. This helps simplify the CEQA compliance process. There are 2 application processes, each with different timelines, that will be discussed in the next 2 videos. Under the Section 1653 process, for project applicants with their SHRP, Notice of Applicability, or NOA, in hand, the Act provides for approval in 30 days or less. Under the Section 1652 process, for projects eligible for the SHRP, but without having an NOA in hand, the Act requires approval in 60 days or less. You can remember which one is the 30-day process because the section number ends with a 3 under the 1653 process. Sustainable Conservation has been collaborating with the Department on the implementation of the Act since 2015. There are a variety of resources available to assist applicants, including DFW's HRE Act website, which has application forms, information on project planning, timelines, and more. Technical resources are also available on our website, www.suscon.org, including a 1-page general information fact sheet, which explains what the Act is and what it does, and what projects are eligible. We also have a detailed guidance document for preparing HRE applications. It includes general information and recommendations as well as answers to frequently asked questions. We highly recommend reading this before you prepare your application. This is a living document. We continue to update it as additional questions arise, and we encourage you to let us know if you think updates should be made. If you still have questions after reviewing the guidance document, contact us for free technical assistance. We also strongly encourage you to schedule a pre-application meeting with DFW to get feedback on your project prior to submitting your application. For more information, you can reach us at restoration@suscon.org, or you can call or email the HRE Act coordinator in Sacramento. You can watch the next 2 videos in this series for details about each application process. Thanks for watching.